Hey everyone, AEW Dynamite. I really enjoyed Dynamite this week. I loved the prongs and watched this stuff. I was a bit confused why they're doing the unification match next week rather than waiting until All Out. I get a feeling that the unification match next week is gonna end in a DQ and then they do a rematch at All Out. I was like, okay, that's a bit weird. Let's just say if they do a decisive winner next week, who goes on to face the champion at All Out? Is the champion even going to be on All Out? I think it should be, because that is your biggest show of the year. That is your WrestleMania, if you want to refer to it as that. So yeah, I was like, okay, either two things. Either they got something else planned for the main event, like a really big match, like a really big match, or they're gonna do a DQ and then do a rematch at All Out. So yeah, I know people would not like that, but that's what I think they're gonna do. So, and I must say, this was the first week I've enjoyed all the Punk stuff. There's been a while where I haven't really enjoyed Punk. Like, I enjoyed him in the MJF feud, but in the Hangman feud, I didn't really enjoy him at all. I understood what they were trying to do, but I just don't think it worked for me at that time. So, moving on, I really enjoyed the 3 Falls match between Danny Garcia and Bryan Danielson. Honestly, Danny Garcia's a mega star now, at least to me anyway, and I think in the future he's going to be a world champion, because he got everything he can do. He can do the charisma stuff, as we've seen over the last couple of months, and it's awesome in the ring. And Danielson has made him look really good in this rivalry, and I really enjoyed the fact that Danielson had to come from underneath to beat Garcia. So yeah, really good stuff here, and I like what they did post match with Jericho coming down to beat up Danielson, and then Garcia pulling Jericho off of Danielson, and then Jericho and Garcia having words. So next week it's gonna be Jericho and Garcia in the ring. I imagine you're gonna kick Garcia out of the GAS. Or what they might do is they might have the makeup and then do it further on down the line, because that's what AEW normally like to do. I don't think that will work. I really don't think that would work personally, but you never know. Or what they might do is they might say that Jericho has Garcia. They might say Jericho has Garcia under contract, and then Danielson has to beat Garcia so he can go free, or something like that. I think the first one would be better, to be honest. I think Jericho kicking Garcia out of the group, and then Danielson has to make the save, and the rest of the Blackpool Combat Club, and then they can do Danielson versus Jericho at All Out. But But wouldn't I don't know. Either way, I'm really intrigued to see what they're gonna do. Can you imagine if they do Danny Garcia and Willie Utah as a tag team with William Regal as their coach, and they have to get along, because obviously they've been rivals for so long, so that will be an interesting story to tell, how they have to get along and how they're better off together than apart. And then eventually you can do somebody turning on somebody, and then they can be rivals for the rest of their careers. So moving on, I really enjoyed Tony Storm versus Kalen King. I think Kalen King has a lot of quality to it. I don't think people really appreciate, to be honest. I really do like Kalen King. I think she's a decent performer, to be honest. I think people sleep on her because she's not signed anywhere. And you know what? I prefer people not to be signed, so that way when you do see them, they're normally in an important spot. When I say important spot, what I mean is, if Kalen King was on the AEW roster, she would just be on Dark every single week. Meanwhile, on the other hand, if she's not signed, when AEW do bring her in, you know they're going to bring her in to do something on TV. Does that make sense? I think it does. But anyway, as I said, it wasn't like Match of the Year quality or anything like that. But I really enjoyed it, so there you go. And I want to go back to Danielson Garcia. How good is Bryan Danielson? No pun intended, but he's a wizard in that ring. He can do it all. He can do technical style. He can do brawling. He can do it all. He can do sports entertainment. He can literally do it all. And a lot of people call people the goats, but I think Danielson has to be considered as the GOAT when you consider his longevity, and when you consider he retired in like 2016 and then he came back and he's still at the top of his game. Honestly, Bryan Danielson, the GOAT. So moving on to the main event, the trios tag team match. Obviously we had Andrade, Dragon Lee and Rush. I can't say their name, because I do have a certain name. Is it L.I.J.? L.I.J. Let me know. I can never pronounce it properly. I believe it's L.I.J. versus the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega. Honestly, when Kenny Omega made his return and Justin Roberts said from North Carolina, the crowd went ballistic, and I was there with them. A lot of people can say what they want to about Kenny Omega, and I think some of it's fair. But on this night, the crowd were there for him, and the AEW crowd, the AEW crowd love Kenny Omega. He's probably the only EVP that they never ever turn on, even when he's a heel. Because everybody loves Kenny Omega, even the people that don't really like him. They don't hate him like some people hate the Bucks. Obviously, there's certain individuals that do podcasting that don't like him, but obviously I think that's just to get. I just think that's to wind people up, to be honest. But as I was gonna say, the live crowd loved Kenny Omega here, and it was nice to see him back. And I like the story they told of he's not 100%, because as we all know, he's had a lot of injuries, and even when you come back from them injuries, you're not going to be 100% straight away. So I like the story they told. Did it affect the match? Of course it did, but I like the story being told of Kenny not being 100% even on his comeback, and I think obviously they're gonna build it up to where he's 100%, and then I just think that will be great stuff. Obviously the Bucks and Kenny qualified for the next round.